The first sensation was cold, damp stone against bare skin. Rhett's eyes fluttered open, blinking in the faint iridescent light. Where was he? How had he gotten here? His mind was frustratingly blank, devoid of any memories before this moment. With a groan, he sat up, taking stock of his surroundings. He was in a large chamber of dark gray rock, the walls embedded with pulsing green crystals that emitted an eerie glow. Arched doorways led off into shadow-filled tunnels. The air was thick with a musty alien scent he couldn't identify. Rhett looked down at himself. He wore a simple dark jumpsuit, no shoes. His body seemed lean and fit, but was marked with numerous scars he had no recollection of receiving. Gingerly, he stood up, surprised at how light and strong he felt, almost as if his muscles were enhanced beyond normal human levels. Suddenly, a skittering sound echoed from one of the tunnels, something multi-legged and fast approaching. Rhett instinctively crouched into a defensive stance, adrenaline surging through his veins. A creature burst into the chamber, all clacking mandibles and razor-sharp talons, its carapace glistening in the crystal's glow. It lunged at Rhett with blinding speed, but Rhett was faster. He leaped to the side, grabbing one of the smaller crystal shards knocked loose from the wall. As the creature spun to attack again, Rhett rammed the crystal into the soft flesh between its neck plates with unnatural strength, piercing through to its brain. The alien crumpled and lay still, ichor oozing from a mortal wound to pool on the dark stone. Rhett stared down at his trembling hands. The strange blow was unleashed by lightning-fast reflexes he didn't know he possessed. Who was he? What was he? A flicker of memory surfaced, a snippet of a thought. Human. He was human. That one truth resonated in his soul, even if he understood nothing else about his identity or situation. And no matter what abnormal abilities he now seemed to possess, that humanity was something to hold on to. Rhett searched the dead creature, finding nothing of use, then studied the chamber more carefully. One tunnel seemed to slope upwards, while the others angled down into the bedrock. He would have to move carefully and quietly. There was no telling what other dangerous alien things called this place home. Taking a deep breath, he chose the upward path and started moving into the darkness. He was a human, alone and trapped in this dungeon, on an alien world or some twisted dimension. He had no idea how he'd gotten here, but he did know one thing. He was going to use every ounce of his strength, skills, and humanity to survive this place and find a way back home. The tunnels twisted and turned, a labyrinth of dark stone, eerie luminescent crystals, and the pervasive smells of damp and decay. Rhett moved cautiously and deliberately, each footfall chosen with care. Observation had shown him that certain sections of the floor were actually pressure plates, rigged to trigger primeval spike traps that nearly skewered him when he brushed one with a toe. Rubble and alien bones were strewn in some chambers. He examined the remains closely, noting the bizarre anatomies and carbon scoring from energy weapons. There had been conflict here between these beings, a war or battle of some kind. But whether the corpses represented the dungeon's builders or just more victims of the place's dangers, he couldn't begin to fathom. Other clues hinted at the vastness of the dungeon complex. Eroded remnants of what could only be advanced technology were embedded in the stone. Circuit boards, wire bundles, and stranger components fused into the bedrock like veins of ore. Rhett pried free pieces here and there, hoping they might prove useful tools. It was becoming clear this was no mythical medieval dungeon, but an alien construct built by and embedded with hyper-advanced tech. Rhett began to suspect he was no longer on Earth, or perhaps even in his own dimension. The realization should have been crushing, but he felt a strange spark of excitement. He was the first of his species to walk an alien world. That was little comfort, though, when the next tunnel opened into a chamber filled with hovering, tentacled monstrosities. Rhett barely had time to register their appearances before a flurry of barbed spears shot toward him. He dove into a roll, dodging and weaving, letting his uncanny reflexes and senses guide him. He snatched a spear from the air and hurled it like a javelin, impaling the nearest creature, even as he charged the next. The aliens were fast and strong, but Rhett was starting to understand the augmented capabilities of his own altered body, his human ingenuity enhanced by some unknown experimentation or technology. When the final creature fell, perforated by its own spears, Rhett paused to catch his breath. By now his jumpsuit was torn and bloody, his skin cut and bruised, but his physical performance wasn't degrading. The implications were both tantalizing and terrifying. Rhett honed his senses, listening down the branching tunnels, mapping his surroundings in his mind. He couldn't shake the feeling that something was watching him back, some higher alien intelligence evaluating his progress. Was this complex truly a dungeon, or was it an arena? A place for monsters to hone their savagery, or for other beings to test their champions? Rhett didn't know if he was predator or prey, but either role fueled his determination to survive and solve this mystery. He wouldn't let these aliens break his human spirit, no matter what they threw at him. This dungeon would make him stronger, not defeat him. He salvaged what he could from the alien bodies, and then moved on again into the shadows. He would keep exploring, keep fighting, and keep searching until he found answers and a way out. After all, that relentless human drive to discover was perhaps his greatest weapon and tool now. These aliens would learn what humanity was made of. The tunnel walls gradually changed as Rhett delved deeper, the rough dark stone becoming smoother, fused into eerily flawless black glass. His distorted reflection stared back at him as he crept forward, his own face rendered alien by the material, gaunt, scared, and feral-looking. He froze when muffled but unmistakably human voices emerged from ahead, the first sign of his own kind since awakening. Pulse pounding, he edged to the tunnel mouth and peered out. There, scattered across a huge domed chamber, was a group of people, all wearing the same plain jumpsuits Rhett had on. They looked ragged and desperate, but they were undeniably human. One man noticed Rhett and called out, "Looks like the dungeon spat out a fresh meat sack. Poor bastard." He had a grizzled, world-weary look to him, with piercing blue eyes. "Don't just crouch there, lad. You're making the place look untidy." Rhett stepped out slowly. "Who are you people? What the hell is this place?" A woman with close-cropped black hair and a nasty scar across her neck answered, "The monsters, little playpen. The creatures out there. They toss us in here, watch us scurry around and get slaughtered for their entertainment." Rhett shook his head. "That can't be. Why would they do this to us?" The grizzled man snorted. "Because they can. Because we're not the biggest dogs in the galaxy anymore, and they want to rub our noses in it. You'll figure it out quick, kid. This is a crucible. It'll either break you or reforge you into something new. Assuming you survive it all." Rhett looked around at the battered group, the haunted eyes, the fresh wounds and scars. They'd all seen things, been through horrors, just like him. But they were still here, still fighting. That had to mean something. "None of you remember how you got here? Who you were before?" Rhett asked. "Flashes, sometimes, nothing useful," a wiry man with a tattooed face replied. "Enough to know we were human, maybe even somebody important once upon a time. But what good are scraps of memory against that?" He gestured at a gaping tunnel entrance twice the size of the others. Deep gouges scored the rim, as if from gigantic claws. A wave of malevolence seemed to emanate from the shadows beyond like a palpable force. "The beast," the tattooed man whispered. "Alien thing bigger and nastier than all the others. It's their living weapon, their champion. And sooner or later, it hunts down everyone they toss into this pit." Rhett swallowed but stepped forward, chin high. "Then maybe it's time we stop being hunted and start fighting back. If these monsters want to test humanity, let's show them what we're really made of." The woman raised an eyebrow. "Just like that. You'll unite us and lead a glorious rebellion, hero boy." Rhett met her gaze steadily. "I'm no hero. I'm just a man, like the rest of you. But I am human, and I know what we humans can do when our backs are against the wall. We endure, we invent, and we triumph. And if these aliens haven't figured that out yet, it's time we teach them." Slowly, the grizzled man started to chuckle. "Well, hell, son, that's the spirit. Who knows, maybe you're the lightning bolt we needed to get off our asses and stop being victims." He held out a hand. "Name's Grayson. I'll help you rally this sorry bunch. Not sure if we can beat these bastards. But you're right about one thing. If humanity's going down, we'll give 'em one hell of a fight first." Rhett clasped his hand firmly, a strange sensation washing over him, like the first real human connection he could remember. "Let's get to work then. If the beast and its masters want a war, we'll give them one." The preparation was slow, the process of turning broken individuals into a united force no easy task. But Rhett and Grayson were relentless, bullying and cajoling the others into working together, sharing skills and resources. Weapons were fashioned from dungeon debris and scraps of alien tech. Battle plans were proposed, debated, refined. All the while, they fought. The creatures and traps came at them relentlessly, as if the dungeon itself sensed their growing strength and cohesion and sought to break them. More humans died, cut down by fang and claw, dissolving into gaping holes in the group. But now those holes were filled by others, stepping up, determined to honor the fallen. Rhett couldn't help but feel a fierce pride in his fellow humans as they met each challenge, their determination and resourcefulness undimmed by the onslaught. For every warrior they lost, another salvaged a new weapon from the carcass of a dead creature. For every setback, they invented a new tactic or ambush that took the aliens by surprise. When Rhett himself went down, hamstrung by a venomous alien insectoid, it was the scared woman, Valen, who dragged him to safety through the carnage. She and the tattooed man, Sanjay, tended his festering wound with a makeshift poultice of alien medicinal fungi. Their instincts to protect and mend seemed as powerful as their abilities to fight and kill. Humanity at its finest. Days bulled together, but their skills grew, and their hit-and-run attacks penetrated deeper into the dungeon's tunnels, until finally they reached their target, the towering metal doors blocking what could only be an exit to the world beyond. But their way was barred by a score of armored alien monstrosities, weapons crackling with deadly energy. And looming over them all was the beast itself, an abomination of chitin, blade-like limbs, and fire-filled eyes, as large as a battle tank, the master of the dungeon. Rhett stared up at the beast, into its malevolent gaze, and felt neither fear nor despair, just a cold, implacable resolve. To this monster, he and his kind were just playthings to break for twisted amusement. But it had underestimated them, as its kind always did. It had no concept of the human spirit, the core of steel that let them endure and defy. It was time to enlighten it. "You know the plan," Rhett growled to the others. "Kill what you can, get through those doors, and leave the beast to me." Valen met his eyes and nodded, a ghost of a smile on her lips. No words were needed. They clasped hands one last time, a silent affirmation of their shared humanity, then raised their weapons in charge. The clash was titanic. Aliens fell before the human onslaught, bodies piling up as they fought with a fevered, desperate strength. Sanjay took an energy bolt through the heart, but kept firing as he fell, covering the other's advance. Grayson roared as he leaped into a knot of creatures, hacking with the crystalline bayonet Rhett had fashioned for him. All the while, Rhett dueled the beast. It was fast, incredibly strong, but this time, humanity was faster. This time, humanity had a secret weapon. The cunning and guile of a human mind, paired with an enhanced body and reflexes. Rhett ducked and wove between its bladed limbs, taking wounds but giving back twice as many, his salvaged energy blade slashing through its iron-hard carapace a piece at a time. And at last, his blade sank through one of its eyes and deep into its brain, and the mighty beast toppled like a felled tree. The few remaining alien guards fell back before the humans' charge, suddenly uncertain without their champion. Howling in victory and with the light of an alien sun spearing in through the blasted open gate, the humans plunged into the world beyond their prison, led by Rhett. Bloody and battered, mourning their fallen but unbroken. They had endured the crucible and proven themselves its master. Now it was time to discover just what world waited for them and face it as only humans could, together, undaunted, with eyes lifted to the stars. They emerged from the dungeon into, of all things, a vast alien city. Towering spires of glittering metal clawed at a crimson sky in which multiple unfamiliar moons hung. Exotic flying craft darted between the spires like flocks of glittering birds. A metropolis both hauntingly beautiful and utterly inhuman. The humans stared about them, every jaw slack with awe despite their exhaustion. After the dark tunnels, the high-tech alien panorama was almost overwhelming. Rhett gave them a few breaths to absorb the magnitude of it before he spoke. "We're on their turf now," he said, voice hard. "This is their city, their world. They hold all the cards here. But that doesn't change what we have to do." Valen nodded, face grim. "Find shelter, stay out of sight. Try to scrounge weapons, vehicles, anything useful, and figure out our next move." "Our next move is getting the hell off this rock," Grayson growled. "We know we're not the only humans they've snatched. There are other dungeons out there, other people needing rescue. We've got to find a ship, get back to Earth, bring the cavalry." Sanjay, his tattooed face pale with pain, but his eyes fever-bright, held up a strange crystalline device he pulled from a dead alien's belt. "This gizmo is giving off some kind of beacon, broadcast on a wide range of freaks. I think it's how they communicate."